Hi everyone, this is Kelly with Kelly Ann Crafts. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in McKinney, Texas, and this is my first card for the month of February. And last month we did some Valentine's cards, so this month we're moving on to some different things. I have a couple of fun folds, I guess is what you would call them. They are sort of a fun fold. And then just a fairly simple one at the back. So we're going to be using items out of our new mini catalog that became live on January and goes through April. And we're going to be using this lovely and beautiful suite. We're using papers and some stamps from there. We particularly are using this paper here. And we are going to use the ephemera that's right here. This is like a vellum with a gold leafing on it. It's really beautiful. Let me show you the stamps we're going to use. From Simple and Beautiful, we're going to be using this stamp right here. And then from our Simply Said, this is out of our annual catalog. And we are going to be using the Hello out of here. This is the ephemera. You can see I've taken out a bunch of different pieces of it, but there's tags and leaves and flowers and little rondelles, and it's really a beautiful pack, and the vellum is very, very thick. So this is the card we're going to make. Um, it looks complicated, but I assure you it's really pretty easy. And this is what it looks like on the inside. And your envelope. So this was the Simply Said Simply, oh gosh, I can't talk. Simply Said stamp set, and this is from the newer stamp set that is called Simply Beautiful. There's too many simplies in this phraseology. What you're going to get in your envelope or your kit from me is you'll get your envelope. You will get a piece of cardstock that is our peach pie, and this is, just trying to make sure I've got it in camera. There we go. Peach pie. This is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25, and we want to score that really, really well. So please bring in your bone folder and make sure that you're giving that a little bit of a reinforcement. You are going to have two pieces of basic white cardstock, and these measure 4 inches by 5 inches. One is for the inside of our card, and one is for the point. So you'll see this in just a minute. We will be trimming that. And you will have some of the vellum. And look how thick this is. Listen to that. That's really, really pretty thick. And so we have a flower and a leaf. Then you will have two pieces of designer series paper. These are cut 2.5 by 4, and I'll show you why you need two of these. I'll show you when I do the cutting. And then you will have a square that looks like this. This is, I believe it is 1.5. Let me double check myself. I think it's 1.5. Up, it is like 2 inches by 1.5. I knew there was a 1.5 in there, and we're gonna cut this diagonally too. So the first thing we're going to do, though, is we are going to put all of this aside for just a moment or two, and we're going to do some measurements. And our measurements are going to be on one piece of our white, okay, and on our card base. We can put everything else off to the side for a few moments. And what we are going to do is we are going to, on the fold side, we are going to measure the 5.5 inches. Now you can see how well I cut this. 5.5 inches, and we're going to use our pencil, and at the halfway mark, which is 2 3/4, I'm going to put a little pencil mark right here. I hope you can see that. So 2 3/4, this is our 2, this is a half. This next long line is a 1/4, and that's where we want to mark that. Okay, so we're just going to mark that and put that off to the side. Then our one of our 4 by 5.25 pieces, we're going to mark this at a halfway point also. And half of 5.25 is going to be 2 5/8. So how I figure that out really quickly is half of 5 is 2.5. Half of a quarter is an eighth. So then I just add an eighth to that. Just some very simple math there. So now that I've got those 2 tick marks in there, I can put away my pencil and bring in my trimmer. And this is the it's not hard. You just have to really look at what you're doing. And if you have the Stampin' Up! Trimmer, what's really nice is you can see in here you've got a window into where you are cutting. So I am going to take my cardstock, and you can see my little tick mark, and we are going to cut from that tick mark down to here, from that tick mark down to here, making an M shape on the front of my card. The easiest way to do that is to line up as best you can this point right here. Let's see if I've got it in the camera. Let's get it in the camera. Getting it in the camera is what you guys need, not what I need. So you want this here, and then you can slide this down, and when it is centered in the middle of that trough, you know that you are really good to go. Now don't slice yet. It is much easier if you lift up and put your cutting blade in the middle here. Holding this down firm, I'm going to cut out to one end and then up to approximately where that comes together at the fold. Now I'm not quite there, and that's on purpose. I don't want to go past it. I can always use my snips for that. So let me show you. I'm going to come in later and just take a snips and go right up to the fold right here. It's just a little snip right there onto my tick mark. Now on the other side, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line up my corner back here, and I'm hoping this is all in the camera. I can't see because it's blocking it from what I see, but I think we're doing really good. I'm going to set this down in here. I will set down my blade and see if that is in the center. It looks to be in the center now. I'm just going to double check and make sure this point is in the trough. Double check myself. Okay, I'm going to lift up and put that inside the cardstock, push down, go out to the edge, and then into the center. Okay, going almost to that center point and back. Okay, this is the easiest way to do it. And before I cut this out, the other thing you could do, and I'm not suggesting this, but if you do not have a trimmer that does what that one does, you would take and draw a line from there to the end and cut that. And the same way here. If you're using a guillotine, you would draw that line so that you could line it up and then you would cut it from, as a guillotine, the guillotine would come down. So you would cut from there to there as best you could. But you would have drawn a line so you know how to line it up when you make your cut. But the trimmer makes this such an easy card. And I love that about this. There are hard ways to do this, and there are easy ways, and I choose the easy way. So I just snip that off, and I'm going to need this in a moment. Okay, so this is my card flap, and then I've got the piece that went inside that. We'll set that off to the side for a second because I need to bring back in my trimmer, and I have to trim this piece here. So I am going to go from the tick mark right here to the point. I'm going to line them up in the trough. I believe they're all in the trough here. I'm going to put this in the center. That's looking good. Press down, go down to the end and out the top, and then back. Okay? And then we're going to turn. Now here's my tick mark here. This one's a little bit easier. I'll tell you why I do this, because if I come in here with a blade, I could push on that and crush this or crush that. So what I like to do is come in the middle, press down, go out one end and then out the other end, and I get nice, beautiful, crisp little cuts. Now these two pieces, they are beautiful, but these are now scrap. So put them in a scrap pile. You can try to use them somewhere else if you would like. We are done with this. And for some people, they'd say, oh, this is an equilateral triangle. It is not. And I will show you. So this, it should be like 4 3/4. And this should be 5 1/4. And it is. And then this one should be 5 1/2 on the bottom. And then you should be at 5 inches on the diagonal. This particular piece is going to glue on top of this piece. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere those right now so I can keep my points straight. Sometimes I just know because of where the mark is. I am going to use glue just because it's faster for this. And I'm just gluing this so I don't get it messed up. We're going to bring back the trimmer to do the rest of our cuts. But this just gets this in where it needs to be for right now. And we'll be good. Okay. So, yeah, and you'll know if you've got it wrong because it doesn't fit. That's the beauty of this. It just works if it's in the right direction. So, and it'll give you just a little bit of a edge all the way around. And your angles should be the same. Okay, so that's our center piece. We are going to actually glue this into here right now. So this long part's going to go across here. And if you want to make sure you're not putting glue in a place it shouldn't go, you can always draw a line there. But as long as you keep right in this area, you're going to be fine with your glue. And just remember, it's making a triangle. So go out like in a triangle. And you want to place this so it's not quite on that fold. Okay, you want it lined up so it's not quite on that fold because you want this card to be able to fold. Okay, you want this card to be able to fold. I'm just going to press and press and press. I'm going to come in with a bone folder and just flatten it out, flatten it out. Okay, so that creates my card like this. Now we're going to create the pieces to dress this. So I'm going to just set this aside. I'm going to bring back in my trimmer. Love this trimmer. And we are going to take our 2 pieces of designer series paper. And this is the most important part of the whole card, if you ask me, is cutting these pieces correctly. So I am going to start with one piece and I am going to tilt it to the right and go from, put this where the channel is. You want to get a triangle out of this. Okay, make sure it's in the channel. Hold that down, go down and back, and you should have 2 pieces that are like this. I'm just going to set them, they're like this. Okay, so I'm going to set them up at the top for right now. Our second piece, and this is the important part, we're going to tilt it the other way. Okay, so the bottom is going to be sticking to the right, the top's going to be sticking to the left, and we are going to come in on this again. Once it's in the right channel, you want it in the channel that the blade goes through. You're going to set this down, push down, go down, and then back up, and you will have 2 pieces. Now I want to show you that these 2 pieces are different parts of the triangle. Okay, the reason why we cut 2 is if we just cut 1 and cut it in half, we want the designer series paper, we would have 2 going in the same direction. So that is why we cut 2 of them at 2 different angles. Okay, so these are for another card if you wish to use them, or you can use them inside your card. So these 2 are going to come and get put on our base, and this goes, now it's going to start going pretty fast for you. Oh wait, I forgot to do one thing. Let me bring back the trimmer real quick. Okay, you also have in your stash Oh my. You have this little piece, and we're going to cut this at a diagonal also. Now, I have made this card before, so I already have one cut. And what you're going to end up is two triangles like this. I have one already done, so I'm not going to cut this piece for right now. I'm going to use it on another card. Okay, so you're cutting it at a diagonal like before. And this is going to go on our inside piece. So we're going to get all our other pieces and put our designer series paper on it. Okay, so I'm going to put this on first, so I know it's the inside. And this is just a little decoration to go up in the upper corner. It's just bringing the outside in, okay, as I like to call it. And then this will get put on the inside of my card. And I thought I do. There it is. Sometimes I hide my adhesive from myself. Actually, I just stacked stuff on top of it, and then I went, where'd you go? Okay, and you can see that I made a little bit of a mess here. So I'm just going to take and I'm going to clean that off of there. I'm going to wipe up the glue that seemed to overspill there. And when I did that, I adhered it to, oh my, I adhered it to the mat here. So we will lift this up very carefully off the mat because that is not our card. And I love the fact that it really won't stick on this mat. So there we go. I got it off my mat. So this is the inside of my card. So let me go ahead and put this down, giving myself about 1/8 of an inch all the way around and putting it in as straight as I can. Now, because there's glue on that, I'm going to have to find a, um, a glue eraser. Here it is. So on my glue eraser, I'm just going to come in here and I'm just going to pick up that excess glue so nothing sticks shut. And it kind of balls up. And with this, you just pick it up and pull it off the eraser and it gets all the sticky off. All the sticky off. I love this. It's pretty fast. Okay, so that's that. That is done. Now let's put this piece here and this piece here. I hope you like this card. I think this is a fun card. It looks harder than it is. And truthfully, I hope you try it with a number of different papers. Um, I was just trying to get something springy. When I created this card, it was icy and kind of nasty out here in Texas. It's now like 75 out, so we're back to normal. I'm liking that. I like winter that lasts 2 weeks at the most. I can deal with that. Many years of nine months of winter, or the possibility of snow, and it's like, no, I'm glad to not have that. For those of my friends who are in the snow belt, I hope you are staying warm. I know it's been a real winter this year, and I can really appreciate you being up there. So what we haven't done is we haven't done any stamping. So this is our card so far. We've got our inside in, we've got our outside done. Now, if you choose to and you don't want to make a second card, these will actually fit on the inside. Okay? And you can certainly put something there. I just chose not to and to use it for another card. But you could do that. It kind of looks like a crown, doesn't it? I love it. And you can even do it like this. So it's slightly different. You can use the flip side, which is gold and beautiful, but that's not on the front, so I didn't do that either. Okay, so let me get out our ink pad. We're using Poppy Parade, and it works much better if I don't stick my thumb in it. I had to show it to you because, everybody does it, including presenters, especially presenters, when you're trying to film. That's how it works for me. So I'm just going to put my hello down here in the bottom part of my little triangle because my flower is going to go up in this area. And while I've got my ink out, I am going to come in with my little flower and do my envelope. There we go. And you can take a blending brush if you like to on the envelope. I'm not going to do that at this time. Um, or you can use a different stamp. Either one's fine, but that's the stamp I chose. Let me put that up before I wear any more of it. Okay, and let's get our beautiful flower on here. So our flower is going to go right here. Okay, and I'm going to use dimensionals to pop it up because we have them, we should use them. And that's what I think makes it a beautiful card. Now, I try to put it so that I've got dimensionals kind of all the way around, um, but I have to be able to get the leaf in there. So we'll put that in the middle. That works. If it falls off and it's there, it now is part of the card as far as I'm concerned. That one's a little too close to the edge. And because it's on vellum, I can lift it up fairly easy. Isn't that crazy? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull these off. You can use your take your pick tool to do this. I call this a pokey tool. It's just like a pokey tool. That's what it is. It's a pokey tool. I'm not even sure where I got it anymore. I've had it for so long, it's falling apart. Okay, so I put my flower on, and now I need to put my leaf on. And I like my leaf to hang over a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to put glue on here, tuck it under here, and then press down. And that way, this vellum will adhere to the flower above it. Okay, so I'm going to just put it in here. That looks about good to me. There we go. It's not over the top, it's right there. And now we just need some embellishments. Okay, so the embellishments I used were these, they're called flower accents. They came with the consitu. Anyways, it came with one of our other suites, and I think that's the one it's with. And I used all one size on the first card, and on the next card I used a couple of sizes, and I like that a little bit better. So I'm going to do that on this one. I'm going to put a couple tiny ones down in the bottom here, right here. And then I think I'm going to put like some bigger ones up in this area. I just wanted some variety. There we go. And our card is done. I hope you enjoyed this video and this card. I found it a lot of fun and it's really quite easy. Some very simple measurements. It basically is paper and ink with a little embellishment, and these are all done for you. So the real beautiful vellum part of it is the easiest because you just punch it out of the ephemera pack. Can't get any simpler than that. And this card will stand up for you. Um, if you would like, you can do some variations, and I'll show you a variation of one that I did with a different DSP. And this is our card, but this one I just stamped in those spaces. Thanks, put this here and here. And then when you open it up, you see I still have the little scraps in there. I've got all this area up here to write in. It's just hard to know. You know, I tried to keep it so it was like right in this area when I wrote my thank you. But again, you could come through. You could put this up here. You could easily, I don't think they'll fit this way, but you probably could do something with that if you wanted to. I don't like that, so I wouldn't do that. But you could put this on the inside if you wanted to, on either side. But I stamped on the front and I stamped on the inside so it's not a naked inside. And so that's a variation. You do stamp these after you make the card though. So you better really be sure when you're putting those down. Um, the other thing would be to mark it and stamp it prior to that, I guess. But I did it that way. So those are my variations. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please like, please share, please subscribe so you're notified on my next videos. And thank you again for coming. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.